Rogan Report podcast. Check it out.
All things Joe Rogan by day. Rogan Report podcast by night. All day. All night. A half hour to an hour-ish episodes once a week.
The Rogan Report podcast.
All right, Shane. Welcome back to the basement. Here we are again.
Feels different to be in someone else's house.
Yeah, you're a guest in the house. I sanitized you by dipping you into a vat of boiling alcohol.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in that again on the way out.
Yeah, perfect. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Been a couple of weeks, and man, there's been a lot of Rogan episodes.
Yeah.
We're going to touch base on a few of them. I'll go through the table of contents here, and right off the topic, we're going to talk about backyard fire jams. Scott Cook's got a new album coming out. I want to hype that a little bit, and a video and a house concert that's not really a house concert.
Nice.
There's been some riots in the States. Tempers are flaring.
A little bit of unrest.
A little bit of racism and, cops being bad people, apparently.
Yeah.
And SpaceX, they had a little boom, so we'll touch on that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we got to do some Rogan reporting. I wanted to talk about the Fight Companion May 16th, and that was the Overeem Harris fight companion, and then 1476 Patton Oswalt, 1477 Tony Hawk, 1478 Joel Salatin, 1479 David Pakman, the MMA show 96, which just came out recently, 1482 Jordan Jonas, you listened to, and I did not. We've got to talk about the Spotify deal that has musicians angered all over the world, and then there's like 1,000 UFC fight nights that have happened.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll touch base on just some of the highlights from that. We just watched the most recent fight night from 2 days ago, from May 29th.
Yeah.
Or 30th.
30th.
It was yesterday. It was not 2 days ago.
Yesterday.
I don't know when things happen. That's clearly one of my problems. But
since we put these out a few days after, it's really pretty irrelevant how long ago
it doesn't really matter. It happened. And you're listening.
Man.
And we thank you for it.
Absolutely.
Sticking through us in these difficult and trying times. Maybe I should have a more soothing voice. Maybe that would help listeners come
Give a
to
little ASMR to this thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Some people like the smacking of lips and all kinds of weird shit with
Really?
that ASMR stuff.
That seems like one of the things you should avoid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you know what vocal fry is?
I did. I can't remember now.
Vocal fry is, you hear it in the Valley Girl. It's when people go kind of in between.
Oh, yeah. That's terrible.
Yeah. So we should try to eliminate as much vocal fry as we can possibly do.
Yeah, there's definitely some of that on other podcasts.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into it. Right off the topic, man, I got to go to a fire at a friend's backyard. There was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of us, and we're playing music, and we were pretty distant. So because of, trying to maintain sort of a 2-meter distancing between the couples, it was a little bit, because the circle was so big with 10 of us, we're a little bit far away from the fire, which it was warm last night, so not the worst thing in the world, but if, as it gets colder, it's like, man, you want to be closer and huddled up. I remember going to the North Country Fair and people sitting on the ground, really close to the fire, and then another circle of people around them, and everyone being huddled kind of as close as possible so that you're warm when it's 3 a.m. and up in the north here, it still gets, even in the summertime, it can still get kind of cold at night.
So is it supposed to be 6 feet, period? Like feet to feet? Or is it really just your mouth and you're breathing it that you need to keep 6 feet from other people's mouth and their breathing?
I don't know. That's a good. So if you're head to toe, you're okay, but you can be
Yeah.
right up on the person,
Right. You know what I mean?
Laying side by side. Well, none of us were head to toe at the fire.
Yeah.
We were all sitting upright.
All these rules seem,
But
I mean, I get the point of them.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but
sure,
when you get into the little details of these things, it gets kind of fucking weird. It doesn't make sense much.
The rules versus what is safe.
Yeah.
The rules are there, I think, to be a little bit overboard, and hopefully, but sometimes not. Sometimes maybe they're not quite enough. If someone's running, or like they said, a choir of people singing in a room, because of the way they're putting out so much more breath because they're singing, right?
They're launching their breath.
Yeah. that maybe 2 meters isn't enough. And I think for us, we were all kind of sitting around the fire, facing the fire.
Mhm.
And certainly the fire is going to burn up any viruses that are projected
For
out
sure.
of my mouth.
And there again, you're outside, so
Plus outside.
really your air is going everywhere, and it's
Yeah.
not going towards each other.
Yeah, I think we're all very safe.
Definitely safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely went to a backyard party last weekend.
How's that?
It was pretty good. It's tough to distance with kids, and we got a bunch of kids running around. So
Sure. Yeah, kids and dogs.
Yeah.
Both, dogs are going to go up to every person at the party.
I mean, we just did our best. We washed our hands, we cooked. We all ate off the same plates of the household, so it was like,
Oh.
I don't know. But that they're saying that's okay. Like, you can have these backyard get-togethers. But what do you do about stuff like that? Plates, cups.
Yeah, nothing's going to be 100% foolproof other than if you just hermit yourself, which is unhealthy in other ways.
Yeah.
So
That's right. You have to weigh these risks.
yeah, I think we are right to be taking some risks and monitoring closely to see where we're at and how it's going.
Yep.
And then we talked about not talking about where we're at and how it's going
We fucked
until
that up.
the end of the episode. It's really hard because we're talking about trying to not make COVID the main center of
It's not the
topic of
COVID report.
conversation. It's not the COVID report, but it is hard to talk about anything without bringing up the impact of COVID-19 on what we're doing.
Well, there's no one person on this planet right now that's not
No.
being affected by it.
That's true.
So maybe in the Amazon.
What do you got about these riots? Tell us. That was sort of un-COVID related,
Yeah, totally un-COVID.
non-COVID.
I mean, the whole act of protesting en masse in the streets is kind of going against all the rules anyway.
Yeah, true.
So let's tell a little bit what happened. I mean, everybody
Sure.
knows what happened. George Floyd, another black person who was actually committing a crime. Allegedly, he had a counterfeit $20 bill. So maybe he knew he did, maybe he didn't know. Because I think it's pretty possible you can come across a fake bill and not know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Either way, the store clerk ascertained it was a fake bill, called
Yeah.
the police, and it looked like they took him from his car. And at first they were claiming that he resisted arrest, which is why they ended up with their knees on his neck or whatever. But
Yeah.
then, the same day or the next day, more footage came out that showed them pulling him out of his car before he even could resist.
Yeah.
He was trying to stand up out of his car to get out, and they were already fucking him up from that point.
Yeah. But then at the end of that footage, also, he got up and got into the cop car kind of his own volition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
It wasn't that badly
No.
damaged.
No. So I guess I didn't really see the part where they get him to the ground. I just see the video where they show him, where there's the one dude with his shin or knee, I think it's the shin,
Yeah.
across his neck, and he's face down, right?
Yeah.
He's cuffed and behind his back, face down, with the shin on his knee. And Joe goes into this a lot, who knows obviously a lot about this, jiu-jitsu and moves and pinning people and et cetera.
Yeah.
And it was pretty clearly like, anybody that has any training, and he obviously did if he's doing a move like that,
Yeah.
knows that's going to kill a dude.
Yeah.
He's killed him. He's killing him. And with 3 cops watching. Not just 3 cops, all these people standing around too. Everyone wants to get mad at the cops.
Yeah. He died, but he didn't die there, right? He died in the hospital later, or what? I don't know. Maybe
Well,
I'm
they said-
confused on the...
Everyone, even
Circumstances.
the first responder, or some of the other cops were saying, get off him, man. He's not breathing. Like, he was not breathing for 5 minutes, they were
Okay.
saying. So,
Wow.
pretty sure he was dead on the ground.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I was kind of misinformed, I guess, on
And
that.
so jumping off from that sparks the riots that have
Yeah.
been happening kind of every day since, and now spreading across America, and peaceful riots happening here as well.
Yeah. Right. Not
In Toronto, anyway, I heard about.
protests. Those would be not riots.
Not riots, yeah, sorry, I meant protests. Yeah.
Peaceful riots.
Peaceful.
They make sure everyone's out of the way when they break the windows.
Yeah, watch out,
Um,
guys.
Did you see the video of the apparent policeman who's got an umbrella and he's going around breaking windows to they're saying it's a false flag, or what do you call the people that start when there's a police officer that's
I think
starting the riots?
That's
not false
It's
flag,
not false flag, but
it's,
it means the same thing.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh shit! I wish I could remember it because
yeah,
it's there.
I can't. There's
But Eddie Bravo talks about agent provocateurs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the one. So
Yeah.
they're saying this police officer, and he was apparently identified, and there's pictures of his Facebook profile out there that it was this cop from St. Paul that was wearing, he had a mask on and holding an umbrella, and the umbrella was apparently to like signal to everyone else that he wasn't an actual rioter, that he was this agent provocateur.
Oh, wow. Why would you have an umbrella? I guess you'd be blocking tear gas and rubber bullets and whatnot.
Yeah,
but-
maybe hiding your identity from cameras if you're going to point. I don't really know.
Apparently, a bunch of celebrities actually got involved in the protests, and 2 different pretty high-profile celebrities were both hit with tear gas and rubber bullets out there.
Okay.
One being Halsey, who's a very famous R&B singer,
Yeah.
pop singer, more pop singer,
Okay.
but and also John Cusack of
Yeah.
many different great movies. So,
Yeah. High fidelity.
but they got out there and got fucked up a little bit by the tear gas and the bullets as well
That's crazy.
in L.A.
Yeah, you don't expect Cusack to be out there.
There was a lot of violence against cops in L.A. apparently too in these protests, which is, there's different cops, guys.
It's a problem.
It's across the country.
Yeah.
I mean,
There definitely are cops that abuse their power, but that is far, far, far and away the minority.
yeah,
I know we've talked about before. Most police want to do a good job and are trying to do the best they can. They get into it, I think, for the right reasons.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other ways to make more money than being a police officer.
yeah,
Some of them, I'm sure some of the draw, even if they're getting into it for the right reasons, is that they get to have power and they get to carry guns and whatnot.
oh yeah. There's definitely that.
It's not one single faceted thing for anyone, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very, very less than 1% of the cops that are actually, I think, acting badly in a way that's consequential to like killing a civilian.
So this guy was a decorated cop. This Officer Chauvin, I think his name is.
Yeah.
But on top of that, he's had 12 different complaints against him, or maybe even more than that. A bunch of complaints.
All racially motivated,
Just like misconduct, beating people, this kind of shit.
making up his own
Over the
rules.
years, like he's been a bad cop. This
Sure.
isn't the first time, although he's never been charged. He's only had complaints.
Right.
So technically, this is the first time. But
Yeah, I don't know.
pretty dark. To
Very, very
do that.
dark.
And then, of course, these protests, people have died. Several people have died as a result of the rioting, and
Yeah.
targets being burned and fucking.
Yeah, my friend was showing me a picture today of the protest, and it was of a Crocs store completely undamaged, right, with people
God damn it.
looting. One guy's looted a cheesecake factory, and he's running away with a cheesecake, like holding it up like
Oh,
a waiter, which was pretty funny.
You can't be that mad at that.
I know.
Like, you went there for what they have.
Yeah.
So.
Free cheesecake.
It's not wonton violence if you're taking the cheesecake.
So that was funny, but yeah, then the Crocs store with broken windows of shops on either side.
Nobody
and
wanted
looted-
Crocs.
and then a full Crocs store with no intact windows and full of product.
That says a lot, man. What the
Yeah.
young people feel these days about Crocs.
Yeah, it is pretty funny.
Oh man, yeah. And then I guess there's SpaceX.
Yeah. So, well, let's wait. Let's
You wanna-
get into. I'm
let's,
going to plug. My buddy Scott Cook has an album coming out here right away, and I just wanted to give a plug for it. The first single is out on Spotify right now, and there's a second single coming out called "Say Can You See," and it's a political song, but it's a really bipartisan song. It's really just about how the 1% and the purchased and bought politicians are fucking the entire working class of the world, really. But I mean, most obviously the States is the biggest example of it. And it's just a really cleverly written song. I wrote kind of a political song recently, and I tried to sort of walk a bipartisan line, but definitely my biases shone through, I think, pretty clearly in that song. We played it on a few episodes ago of the podcast here. But I really appreciate how Scott's song is so universally relatable. I think is the biggest thing. It's really, it speaks to me very, very strongly, but I think it could speak just as strongly to someone who's working on the oil rigs in Alberta right now and has a completely different viewpoint from me. So that's just a great bit of songwriting. Say Can You See, that single's coming out. I should have the date here in front of me, but I don't. It's like coming out here in June. I think it's June 19th, I want to say.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, we'll post
sure.
some links and share that on our Instagram and whatnot when that single comes out. And they made a video for it, and so it's going to be released with a music video to accompany. So very exciting.
Deadly.
SpaceX.
So SpaceX, and this has been long anticipated, has finally launched humans to the International Space Station.
Yeah,
And which is great because now we're not using Russian rockets to do that anymore.
That's
we're
good.
using American they are using American ingenuity.
Yeah, not us.
Down there in America.
Yep.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Did you see their suits at all?
No, I didn't.
They look like the Jetsons. Okay.
Oh yeah.
They do not look like safe suits whatsoever. They look like
a unitards.
They look, dude. You got to see a picture of these fucking suits.
All right,
They're
well,
ridiculous.
I'm gonna bring.
I should have brought you a picture.
Hey, I got the
But
internet.
they legit look like the Jetsons.
Okay. Well, let me just pull up a little. Keep talking, Shane.
Okay,
Tell us more about what happened, and I'll research these suits.
Yeah. Well, they did release what their playlist was on the way to their launch, and what they chose was "Back in Black" by AC/DC, which is kind of badass. You picture them just rocking out on. Not that they're like the best music, but
Yeah, it
gives a nice American feel.
It like jazzes you up.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
It's not like some
Are you
like
looking
classical.
at pics there?
Yeah, so they're white.
But they're not padded. Like, what is Elon using? What alien technology is this? Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
see? Like, they're
I do
so
wonder.
fucking weird.
The helmets look cool.
Yeah.
The helmets look kind of more like regular, but yeah, they do look. They're not any. They're way smaller than like your typical astronaut suit. That's for sure.
Yeah, like they don't look that thick at all.
No.
It must be some crazy space age stuff they're using for space.
They're pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like this is the future.
I dig it.
They're flying iPads to the space station and they're wearing iPads.
Count me in.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on.
I think that's it for news.
Yeah, so we'll do some Rogan reporting. We don't need to go through we can just kind of touch on a few things as we go through here. So the oldest episode that I really want to talk about was the Fight Companion on that Overeem Harris, where they got drunk and maybe a little carried away. Really political. Obviously, Eddie Bravo spouting off on the conspiracies, doesn't believe anything that anyone has ever told him.
Yeah.
And they started talking about, would you vote for Biden over Trump? And they were all saying they would vote for Trump over Biden.
I would say all except Joe, who's always very careful
Joe
not
said,
to say. Did
he
he actually
said
say
he would
it?
vote for Trump over Biden. I'm 99% sure he said it in that episode. And he kind of took it back. The very next episode, he's talking to Patton Oswalt, who is definitely like, hey, we should definitely not vote Trump. Even though there are problems with Biden, we're voting for a whole cabinet of people. And the people that Biden is going to bring are going to be much better people for what we want than the people that Trump is going to bring.
Yeah.
And I definitely see his point there, especially getting Trump to, the chance to elect another Supreme Court justice. And then Joe made the point, like, well, maybe we should reform how we, should that be a lifetime appointment to be a Supreme Court justice?
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that if it's not a lifetime appointment, then they can be influenced by businesses that they're ruling over because they're thinking about what jobs they're going to have to get later.
That's right.
So it's like, it is a bit of it's a lifetime appointment for a reason. And, man, I don't know. I don't know what the right answers are here, but I was really surprised to hear Joe say that maybe it was somebody else in it. Maybe I'm hearing him wrong. But then he said later on that he was going to vote independent.
Yeah.
Likely.
Yeah, he did say that. I did hear him say that to somebody.
I think it was in the Patton Oswalt.
Okay. Man, can't they come up with someone better than fucking Joe Biden? What's happening?
I don't know. I'm
Isn't
not sure.
there any good candidates? What's happening?
They say sometimes they don't want to waste a good candidate on a like mid-term election or whatever. Not midterm, but like this on a re-election running year.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. I don't really
that makes it
understand
even more, that makes me shake my head even more at
Yeah.
the whole thing. It's like,
But after 8 years when we know definitely it's not going to be Trump, then they feel like they want to put their strongest candidate then. Because, like,
That kind of makes sense because it went George Bush to Obama.
yeah,
Who's
yeah,
clearly been the strongest Democrat in a long time.
absolutely. But not without his own faults.
Yeah, for sure.
But the best, like, representation of what we think a president would be. That's for absolute damn sure.
You can say his own faults, but also who's had to deal with this world? The post year 2000 world. Nobody has.
Yeah.
Obama's kind of been, and every president now is facing cutting edge shit every day of their fucking presidency.
Yeah,
so it's
changing
like
so
everything
quickly.
changes nonstop. So yeah.
You really loved the Tony Hawk conversation.
Yeah. Tony, I mean, first of all, my favorite video game.
Yeah.
Like one of my very favorite video games.
Yeah, definitely
Tony Hawk
up there
Pro
for me
Skater.
too, in my top 5.
I don't know how many thousands of hours of wasted
Pro
playing
Skater
that shit.
and then Pro Skater 2. Those were the two that really
I think
sunk
2
their teeth
actually
into
might
me.
have been the most legit one where I played the most.
Yeah. It was such a good improvement over 1. Like 1 was such an amazing improvement over skateboarding games like Skate or Die.
That's
I
right.
don't know if you ever played that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
where it's like basically a half pipe and you get the chance to do some moves in the air. It's like, it just was so, to have those like expansive maps and layouts that you could trick over like various different things. And so it was like a free world essentially.
Yeah.
So big improvement with Tony Hawk 1. And that's, to me, that's what makes Tony Hawk the most famous. Like when they were talking about what, how famous Tony Hawk is and what gave him his start, and he says, X Games is what really brought him to the forefront of the conversation, which was just before the video game. So there's some truth to that, but it's the video game that made him a household name, I think.
Made him a household name and made skating a household name.
That's true. Yeah, really.
Made it so much bigger for people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We both knew skaters. I think you skated.
I skated, for a lot of years in really the hard times of skating. In the early '90s, skateboarding was not cool.
No, it was kind of more like gone grunge, and like there were skaters, but they weren't like the coolest kids at all.
No.
But
I did not get love for skateboarding.
No. Although it was
Okay
pretty
with.
sweet to watch a skater do some tricks. I was always down for watching skaters.
Me too.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I missed that. But man, the last time I skateboarded, I tried to like ollie up onto a rail and do a board slide, and I slipped off and landed like flat on my back.
Oh, shit.
Knocked the wind out of myself, and then I was like, all right, I'm not doing this
Too
anymore.
old for skating now.
Yeah, no more tricks. Like I could ride a skateboard still, I'm sure, like to just go hop on and skate around.
Yeah.
Maybe do a ollie up a curb or something like that, but no more like board slides or rails or grinds. That's my youth.
Was that hard on your ankles?
Skateboarding?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
My son longboards, and he's always complaining about his ankles. He's
Yeah.
always got torn up ankles.
yeah. There, you roll them because you go, you try to do a big jump and you try to do a trick, and you've got forward momentum, and then what ends up happening is you miss landing on the board, but so your feet hit the ground, and you just, that momentum carries you forward, and you're sideways. You're not like you're landing forward. You're landing kind of on your side, so it's just built to roll ankles.
That's
and
brutal.
yeah, my ankles are just in a constant state of recovery from getting rolled.
That's brutal.
Yeah, but I never broke my ankles. I never broke my wrists, and those are probably the most common injuries you see with skateboarding.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see that from all the fail videos I've watched of skateboarders
Yeah,
doing crazy shit and eating it hard.
yeah, bagging themselves on rails,
Face plants, fucking all kinds of dirty shit.
I think the most popular skateboard fail videos are like up on a handrail and then landing like right on your dick.
Yeah, totally.
Those are the worst ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I would go to do I used to do this trick, and it was like a 180 kickflip. So the board spins 180 degrees and it flips as well.
Oh shit.
And instead of spinning it 180 degrees like side to side, I would spin it like over end.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then it would also flip while it was going, but that meant that there was a point in which the skateboard is pointing straight up and down, perpendicular with the ground, and if you came down on the skateboard at that point, you're nutting yourself.
That's rough.
Yeah, I did it once or twice.
Yeah.
But when you pulled it off too, it was like, oh man, what a cool trick! It just looks cooler than like basically doing what's called a shove it, where the board just flips and stays kind of low.
Right.
It looks like it just looks cooler, I thought.
Yeah, totally. It's too bad you didn't have a phone back then, hey? Kids are always setting their phone up, recording their shit now.
Yeah.
Imagine looking back at some of that.
That's what really brought, and Tony Hawk talked about this in the podcast, but that's what brought skateboarding to the mainstream was people filming themselves, and then you got to see what different people were doing, and that just evolved the sport, right? Like, because oh, that's possible. Once you saw something was possible, then you could try it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you never saw it being done, it's a lot harder to come up with it on your own.
That's a lot like hive mentality.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
I thought that was a great episode as well.
Oh yeah.
Joel Salatin, we were just talking about in our last episode. He's the farmer that runs the sustainable farms and moves his livestock around to make sure that the land is sustainably resourced, and then also very ethical treatment of his animals.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised. You'd think that's probably a pretty left-wing guy, but he's very libertarian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's like doesn't want there to be laws governing how he runs his farms. He wants the market to decide. He was pissed that the government could say that he wasn't allowed to sell his meat to somebody. He's like, fuck you, let me sell my meat to whoever I want to. And Joe's like, well, you probably do need like some regulation, otherwise people are just going to sell shitty rotten meat.
Yeah, the rules are there for a reason.
Yeah. And he's like, no, fuck that. he was pretty staunchly libertarian, but also, does want what's best for the world. Like he wants to be environmentally safe and wants the world to grow, and wants factory farms to be a thing of the past. And I think we can all kind of get behind that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
1479, David Packman. That was a real left-wing kind of counter to some of the staunchly right-wing, the Fight Companion that was very staunchly right-wing. I kind of get where they're coming from, especially as comedians with the like really ultra-left and trying to take away free speech and stuff like that. I can see how there's some walls that have been put up there that have disassociated comedians from the left.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when you look at both sides, I mean, Joe says all the time that he, socially is extremely left-wing, but he believes in the First Amendment, likes shooting guns, and, maybe fiscally a little bit more conservative, but does believe that we should have like universal health care, that they should have universal health care, that we should take care of people that haven't had a fair shake in life.
Yeah. I mean, it seems weird to argue with it, to be honest.
Yeah, it does.
I think you almost have to be of the affluent class to even understand that point of view. Yeah. Because I've never been.
Yeah, me neither.
So I don't understand really, but
yeah, I don't have millions that I might lose to taxes, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, one argument is that giving in the money to the government is a waste because the government is going to fuck up whatever money you give them. Whereas if rich people, and a lot of rich people like Bill Gates, for example, trying to come up with vaccines for COVID, a lot of ultra rich people are trying to do good in the world, and maybe they're better at controlling that money than the government is. That's one argument.
Yeah. And you could see that the government does have too many employees. They waste money.
Yeah, there's a lot of waste.
So giving a lot of money to the government isn't necessarily the best way to help people.
Yeah, and things they don't have the same value. Like in our healthcare system, for example, because it's free, there isn't the same value put on it by both the people receiving the healthcare, like patients. There's people that will just go into the hospital to get checked out for absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. Whereas if they had to pay for it, they'd be like, okay, no, this is just a cold. I'm going to sleep it off.
Yeah, let's see what happens in 2 days. Yeah,
totally. So I think that a lot of time is wasted on really nothing with when you have a free healthcare system. And then also because, there's so much, because the government is paying for it, all the like medical supplies and things like that are kind of thrown around pretty loosely. Whereas if it was run more like a business and people were tracking, okay, what are we spending on our clerical, how much are we spending on masks, how much are we spending on gloves, like there might be a little bit better use of resources.
Yeah.
When it's run more like a business, whereas the reason if it's all just kind of free money, who cares? Throw them all in the garbage.
And then I think the other thing is the talented doctors are often funneled away.
Yeah, that is.
There's a lot of doctor talent here, but there's a lot more money down south.
That's true. Yeah,
and better weather sometimes.
Yeah,
in some places.
Yeah, but God, I've never wanted to live in California least.
Yeah, no, I agree.
than now.
And honestly, before this, I probably could have moved to California any minute.
Yeah, it
But
seemed pretty good. I'm like, man, I go live where all the comedy stores are.
now Florida is kind of like, wow, Florida looks all right. Looks nice and warm down there, and no one's that crazy. Imagine saying that.
They've been talking about potentially all moving.
To
Texas is one of the big ones. Yeah, Texas is a good option.
But weed's still illegal as fuck in Texas.
That's true. That's a problem.
So like, I don't know if they have a medical system.
It's weird with how like free, Texas is all about freedom and liberty. Why have weed legal?
Yeah, it
That's
doesn't
a
make
freedom.
sense.
It doesn't make sense to me at
And
all.
it would kill it there.
Yeah.
It would kill it.
But Colorado is another name that gets thrown in the hat. Utah is another name.
Yeah.
Pretty close to us. Or Montana.
Utah surprised me a little bit. That's right in the Bible Belt. But
yeah, but it's not what the reputation it gets.
Yeah.
And it is beautiful. There's all different kinds of land there. You can do anything. You can ski, you can mountain bike, you can golf.
my knowledge comes from the show Big Love
Yeah.
on HBO.
That's a fantastic
That's what I know
series.
about Utah. So,
Big Love is one of the best series.
oh,
of
it was
all-
real good.
all
Bill
time.
Paxton's a shit, or he was. Rest in peace.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge Bill Paxton fan. You see the movie Frailty?
Yes,
He wrote and directed that movie.
really.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That was a great movie.
It was great. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah,
Yeah, good thriller.
yeah. Great twist at the end of that one.
Yeah, it was spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler.
Go watch Frailty. All right, what else did we want to say here? So we kind of talked about that. MMA show 96, they just had Gaethje and his coach Trevor Whitman on. Now I'm into that episode, but I haven't listened all the way through. You were saying that they were talking about his gloves.
Yeah, Trevor Whitman manufactures his own superior MMA gloves, who Dana White's actually interested in. But the problem is Dana White wants to own the whole thing and
Oh, yeah.
wants I can't remember their name. The name of whatever
Reebok?
glove company they're using. No,
Okay.
it's
Everlast.
Daco or something like that.
Okay.
But they want to own the patent for this new style of glove, and it's way better.
So does it keep fingers in a sort of a kind of a semi-clenched position?
Yeah, it's better than what it is now, because they were talking about how when your hand's resting, to actually make a fist, there's tension
You have
there.
to squeeze it.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to squeeze harder than you should, so that's actually there's some
So it's
fatigue
just
on your hands, and you're not getting
Okay.
the proper.
So making a fist is just free and easy. Do you have to fatigue to open your hand wide?
With the way they are now, I
No,
think,
with
the new ones.
Yeah, with Whitman's.
Well, what
gloves.
he's saying is there's a better kind of foam that's going into what he's using. UFC actually uses some pretty cheap foam, apparently. Like a lot of the
Okay.
materials are not really the greatest materials. So
That's surprising.
that'd be interesting and huge for Trevor Whitman. And also, what a great coach. Like,
Yeah,
what he's done with Gaethje is amazing.
yeah.
That
Yeah,
last fight, I think we covered it already, but
we did, but it was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the credit there they were saying is that Whitman has been with him since like day one, and a lot of individual attention. Whereas in some of the big super gyms, you don't have coaches. Coaches might be working with 6, 8, 10 different fighters, and so there isn't as much individual attention, and there also isn't the same kind of duration. Like they've been together for 11 years, right? Basically, right out of wrestling, Gaethje met up with Whitman, and they started working together immediately. And then it's been a long process to get Gaethje to the point where he is now.
Yeah.
And so I think that has been one of the big keys to Gaethje's success, is having that individual attention and that really good one-on-one relationship.
totally. And you see it other places too, like GSP and Faraz.
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
Dwayne Bang Ludwig and TJ Dillashaw.
No, that's absolutely a fact. So,
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see Gaethje fight again now. So much more excited than I was.
I'm a fan now. I really wasn't much of a fan
No,
before.
it seemed it was a little douchey.
I think I called him the Homer Simpson
thought
of
maybe-
MMA a few times.
Yeah, I thought maybe he was writing checks that his fists couldn't cash, but
Yeah.
he lived up to every bit of it in that fight for sure.
Yeah.
How's Tony doing lately? Have you heard anything?
Not a thing.
No?
I know he got his orbital broke. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
So should we talk about these fights we just watched, or at least the main event?
Sure. Yeah, we just watched like the third UFC fight night since the last pay-per-view
Yeah.
in as many weeks. Yeah, there was 2 the first week, like one on a Thursday, one on a Saturday, and then now the next week. So it's been 2 weeks and we've had 3 fight nights.
Yeah.
Which
Making
is
up
awesome.
lost time. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
I'm not mad at it at all. They weren't in an arena this time. They were just at the Apex Center there.
Definitely more echoey than the arena.
Yeah,
You could hear the hits and a lot of the coaching a lot more even than the last time.
yeah. Like I mentioned, I think on our last podcast, I would love it if it was just the fighters and the referee in the ring.
Yeah.
Everyone else was gone.
Yeah.
There was no
No coaches
Yeah,
whatsoever.
and then we'd hear what the fighters are saying to each other because they were talking in the commentary like, "Oh, gee, he's talking to him. He's saying whatever," and we couldn't hear it at all.
No.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm looking at my notes. I didn't write down anything about those fights, but
I mean, should we start from the top and obviously the pivotal? fight? The Woodley,
Yeah.
Woodley Burns fight.
So Tyron Woodley and Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns took it to him.
Yeah,
know,
I
Woodley-
mean, pretty much owned him the whole time.
Yeah. Won, I think, every round.
Yeah.
And it was like,
He flew out of his corner
He
to start
did.
this fight. I think he kicked him in the head right off the hop, and then he opened him with a cut in the first minute.
yeah, I think with an elbow.
Yeah.
That was. Yeah, super impressive performance. Can't say enough about. So Burns definitely, he might get like a title shot next out of that.
Definitely closer.
Yeah.
Super impressive, but also super unimpressive performance from Woodley again.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit there about how Woodley, even going back all the way to the Wonder Boy fights where Joe has talked a lot about that's how you have to fight
Mhm.
Thompson. And maybe it wasn't that he was fighting him strategically like that. Maybe it was more just that maybe he
Already
doesn't have
slipping back then.
yeah, just doesn't have as much of a passion for it, or maybe it's I don't know if it's motivation or, you were saying his rap career probably isn't going to take off.
Yeah, I
anytime
mean,
soon.
maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, you don't hear him on the street. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You don't hear him on Spotify. He's not showing up. So, but I wonder how much money he's banked from his time as a champ. I know he wasn't definitely not the highest paid champ. He got lots of hate all the time, Woodley.
Yeah, he did, which I thought was unwarranted. But
Yeah.
now, after these last two, the Usman fight was really lackluster, and then again with Gilbert Burns.
Yeah.
So the other fight before that was Blagoy Ivanov and Augusto Sake. That was a good kind of kickboxing, rock'em sock'em heavyweight fight.
Yeah.
Surprisingly went to the decision though.
Some good hits for sure.
Yeah, big shots. Ivanov got a cut in the middle of his back that was weird. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody get a cut like that. And they never really talked about it.
I wonder if it was like a fingernail scratch or something like that.
Maybe. It was bleeding a lot though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was nasty.
That was weird. And then maybe my favorite fight of the night, there was Billy Quarantillo versus Spike Carlisle. I want to call him the original Ginger, but he calls himself the Alpha Ginger.
Yeah.
Alpha Ginger for Jesus, he said.
Yeah, he
And
did.
he got a weight allowance. He came in a little heavier than Quarantillo. And so I guess Quarantillo's plan was to kind of weather the storm. And, the storm was there in that first round. He came out swinging heavy, but Quarantillo stick to his game plan and did end up winning the fight by decision.
Yeah.
But the craziest part of the whole thing to me was at the end of the first round with like 6 seconds left, Carlisle stands up and like walks off. And then Billy's like, I'm still going to punch it. Runs up and hits him in the back, like in the ear from behind.
Yeah. Drops him.
And wobbled him for sure. I don't know if he went all the way down to the canvas. But it was such a weird thing. And my jaw dropped to see him walk. I was like, I didn't hear a buzzer. And it was just such a weird way to end the round.
I could see if there's like 1 second left and there's 1 second.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, good Lord. That's risky.
Yeah, there was a lot of seconds left.
For what gain? To have a cool walk off? Like,
My only thought is that he must have thought he heard a buzzer.
Yeah.
Or something. Maybe he's got ears ringing or something like that, and so he couldn't.
Well, they do the clapper at 10 seconds, so maybe he just that badly misjudged 10 seconds, I guess. But
I don't know. That was shocking. But I'm excited to see them both fight again. They were good.
Yeah, it was a good fight for sure.
And then on this card, we also had Roosevelt Roberts versus Brock Weaver, both like relatively new guys. And
that was a good fight too, actually.
It was a good fight.
Yeah.
Weaver was trying his hardest, but Roberts just seemed a little more experienced and ended up sinking in a choke. He's got real long, skinny arms and was able to get under the chin.
Yeah. Pretty entertaining.
Yeah. And then the first fight of the night was Mackenzie Dern versus Hannah Cyphers. Maybe the best submission. Mackenzie in like the first round got like a knee bar on Hannah Cyphers, and it looked like to me like Cyphers was winning on the feet. And then so Dern was lucky to get that.
I'd say
lucky, I guess. Skilled.
Still, we haven't seen a lot of improvement in Dern's striking.
No.
She's excellent with her jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. But if the striking is, they say, a lot easier to work on and develop than like good jiu-jitsu or wrestling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and obviously the jiu-jitsu is kind of harder to stop sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
A couple times tonight. That was where really the only wins tonight, the only finishes were from submissions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun fights to watch. I fucked up and I didn't set my recording to go an hour past, and so we kind of got ended in the third round of the last fight, which I apologize for.
Yeah,
and
hats off to YouTube for filling in the blanks there for us.
Somewhat. Yeah, so that was good. Anyways, thanks for coming over again. Thanks for listening, everyone. It's a pleasure talking to y'all. Please get at us with questions and reach out to us on social media.
100%.
Give us those subscribes and those likes and those 5-star ratings, and we'll give you some excellent content and some big love.
Absolutely. Good to be back, man.
Good to be back.
Yeah, man.
Night.
See ya.
Joe Rogan's unique perspective is teaching us all how to best live, and we will attempt to recap all of his weekly podcasts. Now show your support and download the Rogan Report. The Rogan